Listen carefully. Imagine you are driving a bus. At the first stop, 8 people get on the bus. The next stop, 10 people get off the bus, and 6 people get back on. At the last stop, 4 people get onto the bus. What is the age of the driver? If you listened carefully, you may remember that you are the driver of the bus, and the answer to this riddle is your own age. Active listening has more benefits than you may realize. But in all the forms of communication that you encounter, active listening is able to enhance and clarify your forms of communication and the encounters you have with other people. Listening and communication have been continually researched and analyzed for centuries. And you may have probably heard the famous saying from the philosopher Epictetus that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. This has been proven in many situations in life, and today I will talk about why knowledge is power, the requirements to acquire and transfer this knowledge, and the life-changing effects it will have when used appropriately. The biggest advantage listening has on a general population is one that can be applied to any walks of life, occupations, and collective relationships that you may encounter in your everyday life. Speaking is the act of giving knowledge away. And listening is the act of receiving this knowledge and understanding it and decoding it. Who is at the higher advantage? The giver of the information or the receiver of the intelligence? It is proven that leaders who ask questions, listen to fellow members, and provide attention, feedback, and support are more mindful of the individual needs and more effectively inspire personal development and overall performance. Leaders who listen are able to create trustworthy relationships that are transparent to all your needs. Leaders who listen, ask questions, and ask for advice have a stronger influence, and their opinions matter to more people. When a leader does indeed speak, people are more likely to listen. It is the law of supply and demand. When you constantly share your opinions, no one will seek them out. And when you only occasionally share your words, they have more weight. Not only is communication an exchange of information, but is also an exchange of feelings. In his influential book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, the great Christian leader John C. Maxwell writes, "People do not care how much you know until they know how much you care." Listening is a vital part of healthy communication and connection, and it makes all parties feel seen and heard, cared about, and important to the overall mission. This builds stronger relationships and creates an environment that fosters encouragement and self-confidence. Just like any good thing in life, it requires practice, effort, and hard work for these benefits, and they come with requirements necessary for pulling off these skills. The major qualifications for active listening are courage, patience, and empathy. Social scientist Robert Karkoff came up with a 4-level communication model, the art of helping. He believed that when adults have reached full maturity, they can communicate. They must create a new life through their helping skills, and the cycle of life continues. The 4-level model breaks down the prerequisites for helpful relationships in developmental behavior. These levels are majorly related to active listening and the degrees at which they are used effectively. Empathy has to do with being attentive and compassionate. Responsiveness has to do with feedback on the expression of another person's experiences, and personalization relates to enabling others to understand where they are in relation to where they want to be. This is vital in all leadership skills. Karkoff also highlights the easy and practical skill sets of putting all judgments and assumptions to the side, refraining to interrupt when listening, and paying attention to the tone of voice, body language, and other social cues, not just the words being spoken. Karkoff concludes his research with the reminder of the joyous payoff all these skills bring. This leads to me the life-changing effects of active listening provides to those who choose to nourish these skills. Some of these transformative applications are seen in a higher and larger, broader picture, and some of these skills are seen on a more personal and intimate level. And studies have been done on the efficiency and power listening has on people and their motivation towards success. This is why these principles have been applied to mentoring programs, therapy, and education curriculums as well. In mentorship, active listening is vital, and in research thesis conducted by students at the University of Tennessee, it was found that peer mentoring programs that use and qualify for active listening skills. They are growing by the year and also succeeding in increasing student involvement and general student success rates. And Dr. Erin Fink at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville performed pre-test and post-test of students and peer mentoring programs. And in the research she does, it is mentioned that listening is not a course that can be taught. It does not come in a textbook. It comes with practice and precision and personal experiences. And this research uses similar tactics to that I've already discussed. The first step is to listen, empathize, and communicate with respect. The second, to ask questions and ask permission to take notes. The third and fourth steps are to focus on the issue and find a way to take that first step to finding the solution. These tactics are explored in mental illness therapy as well, because the main goal of these relationships are to have general success in a companionship kind of way. These tactics are helpful because change is ultimately the objective for these types of communication and listening. It involves listening to the problems and is the first step to finding the solutions. The Department of Education in Herculaneum, Greece wrote an academic journal portraying the effects active listening has on teachers and the curriculum they inflict onto their students. They instruct and they implement the active listening attitude scale, ALAS. The things that they had the greatest effect on this scale were things like education of mental illness and the opportunity for conversation and personal preferences. These things gave the students a voice and made them feel safe and comforted in their education system. Communication with their professors felt easy and unburdened. Passive listening is using these listening skills only when it is beneficial to the listener. So while the speaker is speaking, the listener is only listening so that they may be able to insert their opinion or a rebuttal. But active listening is setting aside one's ego, judgments, and assumptions so that the speaker may be fully heard. Not only heard for what the listener wants to hear. I do hope you have heard and actively listened to the methods of practice that I have given to you today, because next time you are called to listen, you may hear more than you ever have before. Bad listening habits must be replaced by healthy listening habits. So open your ears, clear your previous conclusions, and show speakers that you care if you yourself desire to be seen, heard, and listened to in the future.